It was a funeral, a place of peace. A mother wipes her eyes. A child shifts in the pew. Then, gunshots rang out.
Allegheny Middle School and Alderdice High School.
The funeral for 20-year-old John James Hornazis Jr. had just become a crime scene. Welcome back. Today we're telling the story of a shooting that shook an entire city. A young man was gunned down, and 13 days later, his funeral was too. Let's go back to where it began. It's October 15th, 10:05 p.m. The location, a Sunoco gas station on Cedar Avenue in Pittsburgh. Betty Jean Averett, 59, a grandmother of 7, was waiting at her regular bus stop. Jacqueline Michalek, 33, rushing to make it to her night shift. They were strangers, but both were in the wrong place, at the worst possible moment. Two groups of young men, armed, angry, and looking for each other, converged at that same gas station. Betty and Jacqueline weren't part of it, but they were caught between it. When the gunfire stopped, 3 people were dead. One of them was John Hornazis Jr., the same man whose funeral would be targeted less than 2 weeks later. The trouble had been brewing for days, maybe longer. Investigators believe it started with a house party. October 13th, Friday night, words were exchanged between John's group and others tied to a man named Charron Troutman. The argument, possibly over a girl, or money, or respect, nobody's sure. But what came next was clear. Threats, deleted Instagram stories, messages like, "See you at the spot." The spot was the Sunoco gas station. It was supposed to be neutral territory, but everyone showed up ready for a fight. And the tragedy is, innocent people got caught in the crossfire. John's group arrived and waited outside. 5 minutes later, a black Hyundai circled the block. Inside, Samuel Pegas, Charron Troutman, and another man. By 10 p.m., both sides were there, armed, watching each other. Betty was still waiting for her bus. Jacqueline was walking past, checking her phone. At 10:02, someone shouted across the lot. Witnesses heard, "What's up now?" What followed lasted just under a minute, but it felt like forever. 23 shell casings were found, 2 different types of guns, shots fired from both directions. Betty never got a chance to run. Jacqueline walked right into the line of fire. John collapsed in the parking lot. All 3 died there. The next morning, Mayor Ed Gainey stood at the corner of Cedar and Stockton. He spoke about the need for unity, for peace, for answers. But across Pittsburgh, different conversations were happening, conversations about revenge. And for the family of John Hornazis Jr., they were trying to grieve, trying to plan a funeral, but they'd already heard the threats. The family asked for police protection. They got it. On paper, 2 officers were assigned to the service, but on the morning of the funeral, they went to the wrong location, a funeral home 3 blocks away, and when they saw no activity, they left. Meanwhile, at Destiny of Faith Church, hundreds of mourners were gathering, and there was no security. By 12:04 p.m., shooters approached the church. Inside, the pastor spoke of forgiveness. Outside, fingers rested on triggers. Then, gunfire. The first shot startled everyone. The second confirmed the nightmare. People ducked. Mothers covered their children. A casket sat abandoned at the front of the church. A child's shoe was left behind in the rush to escape. Outside, 6 people were shot, 1 critically. Inside, it was chaos. This was a funeral, and it had become a battlefield. 2 hours later, a 19-year-old named Shawn Davis was arrested. Hezekiah Nixon, a 16-year-old, was taken into custody that same evening. Both were charged with attempted homicide. Shawn Davis and Hezekiah Nixon believed Hornazis and his associates were responsible for what happened at Sunoco, so when Hornazis Jr.'s funeral was announced, they saw it as an opportunity to hit back. Both suspects, Davis and Nixon, have been formally ordered to stand trial by a judge following a preliminary hearing. During the hearing, prosecutors presented surveillance footage showing both individuals casing the church 20 to 30 minutes before gunfire erupted. They face criminal charges including attempted homicide, aggravated assault, and firearms violations. Nixon's defense has sought a transfer to juvenile court, while Davis's attorneys have indicated the possibility of requesting separate trials. There have been no publicly released updates on the trial schedule, convictions, to-date verdicts, or plea deals since the preliminary hearings in 2023. In the gas station shooting, Samuel Pegas, 30, and Charron Troutman, 21, were initially charged with criminal homicide in the triple shooting at the Sunoco station. In January 2023, homicide charges were dropped after autopsy data indicated they were not positioned to have fired the fatal rounds. They still face other charges like recklessly endangering another person and weapons violations. In June 2025, Troutman pleaded guilty to aggravated assault, criminal conspiracy, several firearms offenses, and reckless endangerment. He received a state prison sentence of at least 8 years. The homicide counts were withdrawn as part of the plea deal. Jaylone Hines, 21, is facing trial for multiple charges, 2 counts of homicide, attempted homicide, conspiracy, and weapons violations. As of a June 2025 report, Hines is awaiting trial, which is scheduled to begin in January 2026. Today, if you visit the corner of Cedar and Stockton, you'll see a memorial, flowers, photos, candles, for Betty, for Jacqueline, 2 women who didn't know each other, didn't know John, and had nothing to do with the violence around them. They were simply in the wrong place, at the wrong time. Thanks for watching. If this story meant something to you, leave a comment. Let us know your thoughts. Do you think this kind of violence can ever be stopped?